We're about to enter the dramatic theatre of Mr. Schneier Zalman.
Yeah.
Okay. Lang trachten hat men dem Ochsenem Moer nicht gelassen. So the ox's brain wasn't allowed to think for very long about what was happening. Zwei schwere Katzenjungen haben sich aufgeworfen auf einen zusammengepinteten Bund von die 4 Klauen und 2 auf den hinten. So 2 heavy butcher boys threw themselves onto the tied up heap of the 4 hooves and 2 other butcher boys behind. Ausgerechnet also, als der Fleischberg soll halten Gleichgewicht. And they worked it out in such a way that this mound of flesh, this mountain of flesh, should be the weight should be evenly distributed. A Brascher der Katzev und noch a Gehilf haben umgehabt dem Ochs für die Hörner. So a Brasher, the butcher, and assistants and other assistants grabbed the ox by the horns. Jeder mit beide Lappes für ein Horn und mit Keuch verdreht dem größten viereckigen Kopf auf zurück, also als der dicke Hals ist Punkt gelegen, ausgebett auf der zerworfene Kuppe Samt und ungezeugen sich wie ein Gummi. So each one of them grabbed, with both hands grabbed a horn, and with strength, with power, they bent the large square head backwards so that the thick neck lay exactly upon the mound of sand that had been thrown down on the ground, and his head was stretched like a gummy, like a
rubber band.
A rubber band. Nur der größere Gorgel hat noch schwach gezuckt unter der Fell, but his large throat beat weakly under the skin. Nu geht Elia der Shochet kurz afreg. So Elia the Shochet asked, Nu, fartig, Reb Elia, entferen op etliche katzowische Hälser und in ein Chor und mit keichendicke Atem. So we're ready, Reb Elia, answered several butcherish throats, voices, like in a choir, like all together at the same time, and with a bated breath, perhaps?
Like held breath. Yeah, yeah.
Ja. Nu geht Elia a Wunk zu Hirschels Eidemel und nimmt an dem Naftlampe. Nu, Elia winked at Herschel's son-in-law, and he took the paraffin lamp in his hand. Wie in Hinnerplet is Suske a Reus von sein Winkeler. Und Elia der scheuchet mit dem Lämpel hinter ihm. So in a stupor, Suske came out of the corner that he was standing in, and Elia the shochet with this lamp behind him. Suskes Schotten hat sich davon ausgezogen und wie eine große Fledermaus zerflattert sich über einen ausgezogenen Korben. So Suska's shadow stretched out like a flying, a waving bat, a large waving bat over the stretched out victim. Zugetrotten ist von deswegen, kläumischt sehr chrabra mit einem blanken, großen Chalef in Hand. So he approached, nevertheless, allegedly quite bravely, with the shiny Chalef, the large shiny Chalef in his hand, slaughterer's knife. Der Flamme von Lempel hat sich in Chalef plötzlich ein Spiel getan und sie ist von ihm geworden geller Feuer, ein abgebrochener Stück von einem Blitz. So the flame of the lamp suddenly reflected from the Chalef, and it was turned into a yellow, it looked like a yellow fire from a broken off piece of lightning. Etwas nicht erdisch, unmamosches, wie der Schwert von Malach Hamoves allein. And it looked like something which didn't have any substance, which wasn't real, like the sword of the angel of death himself. Und Suske, der Scheuchetel allein, is euch on Mamoshes. Etwas wie nicht a zweiter Suske, hat sich herabgelassen auf die spitzige Knie. And Suske, the Shochet himself, seemed as though he didn't have any substance. It was as though there was a second Suske standing there who leant over onto his sharp knees. In die Backen haben sich ihm zerbliedreute Gedachesflecken, die Augen leblich seinen angelaufen mit Feuer und das schwache Herz hat sich zerpeikelt. So his cheeks were shining with red speckles as though he had a temperature. And the lids of his eyes were lit up with fire and his weak heart was beating almost like a drum. Amin meschugene Freilichkeit und Aufregung hat ihm herumgehabt. Chichi, ot will ich ihm Tage bald keulen. So a strange joyfulness from and excitement enveloped him. It was as if he was laughing. Now I'm going to slaughter you. This is what Zuska is imagining in his mind. Nur do hat der ausgezogene Ochs schwach afirgeton mit sein vergossenem Kuck über Zuskas Penemo. But then the stretched out ox weakly raised up his eyes. He raised up as if to heaven his eyes and looked at Zuska's face. Mit ochsener Verachtung afirgeton, and with ox-like disdain, he ox-like disdain. He said it as if he said, "Ot der paskudne gor, ot der loksh mich azariz So this scoundrel he's going to be busy. This loksh, this thin bit of humanity, and I, the giant, he geprüft a reveton euch, nor mehr wie a gur ist bei ihm von ungezeugenem und verdrehten Gorgel nicht heraus. And the ox tried to bellow also, but nothing more than the sound of a gur came out of his stretched out neck, throat that was held down.
Wow. Thank you. You want to read more?
You have to finish this amazing.
It's such a powerful description.
Yeah, and you do it so powerfully well.
All right, let me read a little more.
Okay.
Zuskas meschune dicke Freilichkeit ist bald ausgeloschen geworden. So Zuska's strange joyfulness was very soon extinguished. Seine Augen haben genommen blongen. His eyes began to stray. A zerknetschte Hand mit a verkatschten, zerflickten Arbel hat sich ausgezogen. His clenched hand with his rolled up, tattered sleeve stretched out. A finger mit a korjaven Nogel hat angewiesen dem Ort, wo man darf schächten. Und Elie der Scheuchertskoll hat kurz atemdig befoilen. So a dirty fingernail pointed out the place where he would have to make the cut. And Elia the Shoichet's voice breathlessly ordered him, Otador nu, so over here, nu, mit een zerfingerte Hinterle, hat sich Suske ungespart an dem größten warmen Hals und mit der zweiten hat wie in Cholem kimat Blinderheit a 4 geton dem größten Chalef von a weißen Fleck auf der Fell in a schwarzen rein und zurück. Ist rein mit dem Chalef wie in a weicher, warme Masse von Teig. Und gewundert sich Bishas Meise, was ist sehr leicht. So I started with mit ein zerfingerte Hinterle. Is that right? It's a very long
Right.
sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, so with one hand where the fingers were spread out, Zuska reached out to the great warm neck. And with the other hand, he, as if in a dream, almost blindly made the cut with the big chalef from one white spot on the skin to from one white spot to a black spot. He made the cut. Is a rein mit dem chalef. He moved the slaughtering knife in as if he made the cut, and it was as if it was cutting through a soft, warm mass of dough. And he wondered, as he was doing it, why it was so simple, so easy to make the cut. Vergabt von Ot der plötzliche Neigerigkeit hat vergessen oprücken sich bei Zeitens an der Seite und ist ein übrige Regel geblieben, Knien über übergeschnittenem Hals. So he was so fascinated by this sudden curiosity of feeling that he was cutting through dough that he forgot to move aside in time. And for one moment too long, he remained on his knees over the sliced neck. A heiße, fettliche Gewalje hat immer Setz getan zwischen die verspreite Finger von der linken Hand. Und gleich nachdem hat das heiß und kleppedig Pleuch getan in mageren Ponnen. So a warm, a hot, fatty wave hit him between his spread out fingers of his left hand. And immediately after that, this hot, sticky shower hit him in his thin face. Und als ist verschwunden geworden in einer reuter Helligkeit, wie in einem Abschein von erneuerter Streife. And everything disappeared in a red hellishness, like the shining of a nearby fire.
Wow, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Was der noch ist geschehen, weist mehr nicht Suska der Shochet, Hirschel de Malamed's Adam. What happened after that, Suska, the Malamed's son-in-law, doesn't know. Das wissen andere, but other people know what happened. Mit der verblutigten Pannen, wie in einer mischugendicke rote Maske und mit einem großen Chalaf in der ausgestreckten Hand, hat sich rausgerissen von Keulestiebel auf der freien Luft, gehabt laufen und schreien mit a benummenem Quietsch. Gewalt, Gewalt, Gewalt. Okay, with a bloodied face, as though it was with a very strange red mask, and with the big slaughter knife in the outstretched hand, he raced out of the slaughterhouse in the open air and began running and screaming with a like a bewitched a bewitched shriek. Gewalt, Gewalt, Gewalt. Von Moil hat ihm geschlagen Roppe. From his mouth was streaming saliva. He was like frothing at the mouth. Die Augen seien ihm im Ganzen heraus vom Kopf. His eyes were completely out of his head. Azoi is in Banigen Nebel, der Loffen Biskel onheb von der Schulgas. And in this time of the early morning, he ran to the beginning of the Schulgas, the street. Und dort, der sennendig Menschen, hat noch mehr ausgelupet die Mutneräugen, abgeöffnet a große Maul, und von Hals heraus zerrevet sich mit unbedingt wie der Ochs, was hat sich eingespart in Eingang von Keulerstiebel. So now we're going to see a sort of how he replays the ox in a way. So he's run out. And there, when he sees the people, he begins to, he bulges out his cloudy eyes, mutne, his cloudy eyes, opens his big mouth, and from his throat, he begins to bellow in a very dreadful and a strange way, just like the ox did when he was ungespart, when he was stubborn in the entrance of the slaughterhouse. Und zurück reingezogen in sich die Luft mit der Pfeif Oich azoi wie the ox. And he begins to bring in the air with a fife, like with a, what is a fife?
Whistle.
Whistle.
Like a whistle, just like the ox. In a Rega Arum ist schon sein Schreck übergegangen in a wilde Lustigkeit. In a moment, in just a moment, his Shrek, his
Terror.
fear went over, and this is the most horrible thing, into a wild cheerfulness. Nit meal, nit deal. I'd like to know what that idiom means. Nit meal. Now, you shouldn't know. I shouldn't know.
Need and need is neither nor.
So
But
it's what-
how neither
how it-
neither me nor you. I don't know why he put it here.
Nit
maybe-
meal, nit deal. Hat plötzlich genommen drehen Apea, wie a Lamdin beschassen lernen, sie schockelt sich und sie sungen sich mit a Nigun von Mishnayos. So now we have a picture. So nit meal, nit deal is like, you should know from it. I shouldn't know from it. Is it, I don't know
I
that.
don't know what he meant by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Unclear.
began to suddenly turn one of his payas, like somebody who was learning during the time of learning, and shaking himself and singing with the tune from Mishnayos. And I don't, Mishnayos, I'll have to ask Yankov. Mishnayos is
A passage from the Mishnah.
Mishnah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is very interesting. Hakol shochtin alle megin koilenen afilu choresh shuta v'katan afilu atoy
חרש, yeah,
Shote.
Yiddish, חרש, שוטה וקטן. That's, yeah,
Well-
a deaf person, an idiot, and
Oh.
a
and
young
a small person and a small
minor.
person
And the minor.
and a minor, a toiber, a deaf person, a nar, or a yingle. So he's quoting something here that says everything can be killed, can be slaughtered.
Everybody, Hakol is everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
In Hebrew,
But what does this
Hakol-
sentence mean? He's quoting
means-
something.
Yes, he's quoting from the Mishnah, and the Mishnah says anyone can be a shoichet, can slaughter.
Even
Um,
a simple person, a small person,
A fool.
a deaf
Yeah.
person.
Fool,
Yeah.
anybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, Nechama, Hakol is like the word kulam.
Yeah. Everybody can be a shochet.
Yeah,
You
No,
don't need brains to be a
even a
shochet.
child.
yeah. You don't need brains, you don't need age, you don't, anyway. Nor verendigen hat verendigt wie an ox, was los sich nicht umbringen. But he ended it as if he would end it like an ox, that is not letting himself be brought down, be forced
killed.
down, killed.
Be killed.
Mu. Und gleich genommen Bocken mitten zerschäuberten Kopf auf rechts und auf links. And he began immediately to bow with his head from right to left. Das chassidische Hitler hat sich im Rob gekeukelt, nur hat es nicht aufgehoben. His little Hasidic hat rolled off his head, and he didn't even bother to pick it up. This word is always hard for me to pronounce.
Lechatchila.
The chatila seinen im,
Yeah, lechatchila.
seinen im von der Wanne noch gelaufen, a paar chaverische Jungelech Mazikim von Chevre Yesoimen. So in the beginning, they were running after him a few of the young maziks, a few of the young upstarts from the orphans.
The
house.
orphanage, yeah.
The orphanage.
This Chaverisha is like a gang
A
of,
gang. A
young-
gang. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Der blanke Cholif und der mit Blut ausgeschmiert Ponim hat sie mordig geschrocken. The sparkling, the gleaming sword, sword with the blood and the smeared face had frightened them terribly. But the Neidigkeit is aber fortgewein größer. But the curiosity was still stronger. Dennoch haben genommen schreien Jiden mit Talis Säcklach unter die Ohren, welche gehen zum ersten Minion der Avenen. After that, after this little pack of orphans, there began a group of Jews with their talis bags under their arms who were going to the first minion. They began to scream. Sie haben gefochet mit die Watteve Arbel und gewalete wird ai 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 und zet. They began to wave fochet with their shirt, with their arbel, with their sleeves, with their arms.
They're padded.
Padded, like vate is vate is,
They're padded, yeah.
yeah.
And were yelling ay 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 and look at this. And von Ort nicht geriert sich. And they did not move. Der noch seinen angefahren Balagolas und mit Pferd und Fohl genommen jogen sich noch Suska. And after this came the Balagolas, the wagon drivers with their carriages, with their wagons and with their animals, and they were rushing after Zuskin. Und es ist gewesen der richtige Zeit, and this was in the right time. Worin der Meshuggah, now he's been labeled. Der Meshuggah.
Yeah.
He's labeled. He's got a label now. Der Meshuggah mit dem größten Chalef is geworden gefährlich. Because why was it the right time that they were pushing him along? Because the crazy man was with the big, well, they had reason to be scared with the big slaughtering knife. Yeah, had become terrible.
Dangerous.
Dangerous, yes. Gefährliche Sache. Verhischel dem Melamed Stub hat men aber nicht gewissen zum Chapening until they came to his father-in-law's house, Hirschel's house. That was when they were able to capture him. Now we
they were even unable to catch him, and by the time he'd reached Hirschel's house.
In other words, he got that far. With his running. Yeah.
Right. And they weren't able to catch him.
They weren't able to catch him.
They are still not catching him.
Yeah.
The Meshuggah.
Yeah.
Vor Briggewerdig und Buckendick und Revendick ist Suske reingelaufen zum Schwer in Stub. Übergekehrt, läufendig, der Schwiegels Deiges mit Teig und ihn gleich zugelaufen zu der Wiggele von seinem Kind und genommen schockeln sich über ihm mit dem Chalif im Hand und mit dem Nigun von Mishnayos. Okay, so now we have the scene here. So here he is, he's howling, he's bending, and he runs into the father-in-law's house, throws over as he's running. The mother-in-law's dijks is her table with the dough.
Her kneading trough.
With the
Dutch.
dough.
Yeah.
And goes directly to the vigala, to the little
Crib.
the crib of his child, and begins to shake himself over the child with the sword in his hand and with the same tune from Mishnayos. Hakol shochtin, alle megen kolenen, afilu choresh, shulta, katan. Everybody can do this kind of behavior, this activity. Und verendigt plötzlich sein Stickel Mishnayos mit a Revin von an ox. And he suddenly ends this little bit of Mishnayos with a bellowing from an ox. So he is copying what the ox did. Auf die benumene Kolos von Doba sein Weib, seinen Krave Balagoles, ongelaufen von der Gas. Because of the frightful voice of Doba, his wife, the Balagolas very bravely and boldly ran in from the street. Mit a dicken Beitsteckel hat Imitzer rausgeschlagen Suskin dem Chalif von Hand. With the end of the whip, I guess of the Balagola, somebody was able to push out the Chalif from Zuska's hand. A zweiter hat ihm untergestellt a Fissel und umgeschleudert auf der Podloge. A second one, so one guy takes the weapon out of his hand. The second one is uses his foot and pushes him onto the ground. Und alle Eingelaufene und Stubeke Menschen haben sich a Wurf getun, binden ihm mit Handtücher. And everybody from the house and from the street, all these people began to bind him with towels. Aber binden ihm ist gar nicht gewähnt von der leichten Sachen. But to bind him was not an easier thing. Here, der zerkrochene Nefesh, от the yeshiva bocher Meridalnik, was hat keinmal a Katz an Eck nicht gekannt verbinden, hat plötzlich bekommen a moredicke geworden. So why was it not easy to bind him? Because here, this poor little withered soul, this little yeshiva bocher boy, who was not able to tie a cat's tail,
Yes.
Suddenly had a fierce and amazing kind of strength. Gvura. Hat sich
And so this, sorry, Nechama,
yeah,
this on the previous page, the Meridalnik.
yeah, I'd like to know that.
Someone that
Someone-
has hemorrhoids?
Someone who suffers from hemorrhoids, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
This yeshiva bocher who has hemorrhoids. Oh my gosh, among his other problems. Oh, he also has that problem. he had got this great strength in Koach. Hat sich geworfen wie ein angetrottene wilde Katz. Hat sich geglitscht wie ein Schlein. Hat gehammert mit die Beine dicker Kolekach. Hat sich gedrappet und gebissen. Well, we're really going to enjoy this. He threw himself like I don't know what an ungetrottene, a wild cat, like a caught wild cat. He slithered like a schleien, like a snake.
No, a schleien is a kind of a fish.
A fish. He slithered like a fish, and he hammered with his bony fists, and he bit and he scratched. We learned that word gedroppet from Moisheke. Remember, Moisheke was droppeting people too.
Sorry,
Okay.
Nechama, what did you say about ongetrottene?
I don't know it.
Okay, you know it because it's ongetrottene.
It's like from the word trot, meaning step.
On. Somebody
Stepped over, trot. That's the word in the middle. Like a stepped over wild cat.
Stepped on
You
him.
know, tread is step.
Yeah. Trot is, yeah, of course, yes.
Tread
So it's
is-
like a stepped on cat. So
Yeah,
he put
yeah.
up a real
Wild
fight.
cat.
All right, Golda.
Okay, thank you.
Now you can take it over. You can see what's happening to the Meshuggah here.
I don't know if I can
Golden
translate
Lake,
it,
your
but
turn.
I'll try. The Saf hat man ihm beigekommen und der Meshuggah hat sich verwandelt in ein Pack von angepenteten Handtücher
Mhm.
und zerrissene alte Leiliche.
Mm.
So at the end, and
He was overcome.
as they
Control.
They reached him.
okay, no, I think
No?
they passed him beigekommen.
They
Well,
overcame.
anyway.
They controlled him.
Okay,
controlled
they
him.
controlled him. And the und der Meshuggah hat sich verwandelt, and the crazy person was lost in a pack of ungepentete a lot of towels and torn old sheets.
No, excuse me. One interesting thing here is this ongapentita. All the time with the ox. This word must have been used 6 times. The idea of being fettered, of being controlled, tied up. And now they're using it for him. He's the new ox.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, I feel eingebindet wird, also wie ein großes Kind in Schmatte wickelach, hat sich noch alt geworfen, gekeukelt sich und gerevet. Und plötzlich sich und genommen singen von Chad Gad Ya. But even though he was bound like a big kid with that's bound with rags tied up. around him, he was still able to throw himself to and to roll, and suddenly and he suddenly started singing Chagadio. The Ata Shaykhet the Shaykhet the Teure is gekommen der Shaykhet und gekeilet dem Ox. And this is and the slaughterer and the Shaykhet to the Torah came.
Oh,
The
the ox.
Shaykhet came and killed the ox. Was hat getrunken das Wasser, that drank the water. Was hat geloschen dem fire, that the water that doused the fire. Dem fire, a fire soll euch allemen nehmen. And then he cursed, a fire should take everybody. And he started laughing. Von a größer Kuppernem China hat man ihm genommen gießen kalte Wasser über den Kopf. From a great big copper china teapot, they started pouring cold water over his head.
A very effective treatment for crazy people, you know.
Well, they're not.
I know, but
Drie abgeschwenkt dem Dicken mit dem Blut verfleckt on him.
Dicker.
Sorry. No, I'm
Meuyamdicken.
got me.
how do you say that word? Meoimendicken?
Meuyamdicken. This is
Meoimendicken.
Meuyamdicken. Yeah.
I'm Dicken mit Blut verflecken von ihm und danach übergegangen zum mitten Schaben. Before they poured water over him, I'm thinking, is that scared or frightened?
No, it's like frightening.
Threatening.
Okay, frightening.
Frightening.
The blood spilled over his face, and after they took him danach übergegangen zum Mittenschaben. Could you help me with that, Yankin?
So his blood spattered, the first rinsing his blood spattered face. And
Yes.
afterwards, they moved over to his skull. A sharben is his skull.
Oh.
So they started with one thing and then they did the whole thing.
And
Yeah.
hat so long gegossen, they poured the water so long, bis Suske hat genommen schreien und weinen, until Suske started screaming and crying. As man zeckt dem Meuch mit a zeg, that they're sawing his skull with a saw. Hat man ihm abgelassen. Und der Meshuggah hat sich a bissel beruhigt. So they removed themselves, they left him alone, and the crazy person started quieting down a little bit. Aber nicht auf lang, but not for a long time. Bald hat sich der Mann, wie es hat sich geworfen, der weiße Bock. But it didn't take long. Soon he reminded himself how the the big ox started throwing himself around. Welchen had geschochten hinter die Jatges, the one that he slaughtered behind the butcher, the slaughterhouse.
Which
Die geschochtene Katschkes, like the slaughtered Katschkes,
geese.
geese. Beim Schachen hat nicht gewollt tigern.
I thought a kashka is a duck.
Yeah, Kachka is a duck. Yeah.
A
It's a
duck,
duck.
yes.
It's
Correct.
a duck.
A duck.
You know, she's a kashka. You know,
Yeah.
Katschkes, beim
she's
Schachen.
a kashka.
Okay. Beim Schachen hat gewollt tigern und geschreien, Kra. So the I did that just Katschkes beim Schachen.
Duck.
They didn't want to die, and they started screaming, Kra. Ze heist dat ze leven nog. It means that they're still alive. As Alaman uit Lechayis, zullen zij nog leven. So that that they will live after. What is Lechayis?
Lecha is loches, dafke.
Oh,
Out of-
because
yeah.
in spite of,
Defiantly.
in spite of, they'll
Have to loches.
still live.
Yeah.
War seine gemischte Augen, seinen herausgeschwommen, die Gänse, was bloßen Schäufer waren tief und Schachlin mit die lange Hälse, wie mit Lulavim.
Lulovim.
Lulavim. For his mixed up eyes, they started swimming. Again, the geese started swimming and blowing shofar before they died. Let me find my place, pushing. Okay, and shaking with their long necks like the lulavs.
Yeah.
Alle lebendige Beschäftigten, every alive being, was had paid, every live being that he killed, zu bringen, sind geworden Scheichet, everyone, since he became a Scheich, seinen lebendig geworden in sein gemischte Verstellung. Everyone that he killed since he was a Scheichet suddenly became alive in his crazy, mixed up mind. Abgespiegelt sich, stücklich weiß, zerrissen wie in Mutnem, zerrüttelt Wasser, and they abgespiegelt sich. They as if they became alive, slowly, broken, torn, like in a deep water that keeps that's not it's a wavy or a moving water.
Okay, muddy.
Cloudy.
Muddy
Cloudy.
water.
Okay, abgeklungen von jener Seitfeld in Krankenkopf. And that came to his mind from the other side of the world in his crazy head. Getanzt, a karahod, adum im, and everyone was dancing in a circle around him. Und today putet zu werden, und die alle Gilgulis hat gehalten in ein Schreien und betten sich, soll wegnehmen die Katschkes. And in order to be rid of all of these things that were happening to him, he started yelling. He continued yelling and begging that they should take away the Katschkes. So wegnehmen die Gens, soll dem gekeuleten Bock vermachen, dem aufgeschnittenen Hals, that they should remove the ducks, they should take away the geese, they should take away the killed buck, the ox, and close the neck that he slaughtered, dem reuten Meul unter dem Molde, the red mouth under the Molde.
Chin.
Chin.
Under the chin. Der ganze Savavlek ist schwarz geworden von Menschen. The entire, is that Zava's house?
No, that's that
Zavavlek?
neighborhood. It's the neighborhood.
The whole
Zavalek.
neighborhood
Zavalek.
is schwarz geworden von Menschen. The whole neighborhood became actually black. It was so crowded with people. Und alle Augen arumige Gassen und Gästes, and all from all the neighborhoods around the streets, and Geskis.
Yes,
Alleys.
yes.
I'm sorry, everyone was talking.
This is
at once.
little streets, gas and
Okay.
Geske.
Oh,
Okay.
Geskis. Okay,
Yeah.
little street. Is men sich zusammengelaufen, everyone round from around the streets and the different little streets. Eifen Bays Funda on this angry person that was, the anger that was going on. I've beide green Danikis on both green porches in Eingang when Zavavlek, in the entrance of Zava's house, is men gestanden cup by cup. Everyone was standing one next to the other. The Eifenga Galerayis, like on tight galleries in Triata, in the Sierra. Man hat das eingebrochen, Simon, when the Vista Gärtner in Eck, they eat, don't stop.
That's terrible.
Yes, they even brought in the Simon, the chimneys from the Vista Gärtner in Eck.
Wait. What?
I-
Simon.
Was
Well,
this
Isn't that
Simon?
the gate?
Fence.
The gates?
There were the
Oh.
gardens there. We met this whole neighborhood and there were the
Okay.
gardens. It was
Okay,
a
the
garden community.
Okay, Gärtner. In Eck,
It was a-
the Vavlik. When als Kedai zu haben nach Koch zu der Herren hat ein Geschrei von Hirschel, der Melamed Eidemel, welche ist plötzlich Meshuggah geworden und gewollt schächten sein eigenem Mädele. And everyone wanted to take a look, to hear something. One scream from Herschel, the Melamed son-in-law, who suddenly went crazy and even wanted to slaughter his own little girl. L'chal hapachis,
Lechol Apoches.
der Herren ein Quitsch von Dubben, sein Weib, was fahrt sich, wie man sagt, in Spasmes. And L'chal hapachis.
At
At
least.
least.
At
That's a
least.
very, I mean, if you couldn't get a good shry out of Zushka, at least you get a little, you hear Dubba screaming. That was good
Okay.
too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
heard
yeah.
her-
always-
Nice
it's all
You
good.
heard
It's all
the
good.
little scream from Dubba, his wife, who was throwing herself, as they say, in spasms. Der Zen war der Tier, die Zippe, die Schwige, reißt sich die graue Haar von unter ihr melligen Kopftierchen. And they see before the door how Zippa, her mother-in-law, is tearing her gray hair from under her head covering. Nit Alamin is das gelungen. Not everyone could take it.
No. What is it?
Nit
Gelungen? I thought
Alamin
it's
is das
successful.
gelungen.
Not
Yeah.
everybody was successful.
Not
in
everybody was
hearing-
successful to get a good look at this theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not everybody
I-
had a good look.
I figured that they couldn't take what was going on.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no, you're
No.
wrong. They loved it.
They're coming to see how these people are going crazy, and that's all
Right.
they're interested in. And they're not all successful in getting their fun out of this.
Right.
They don't.
Befrat Atzin, and Herschel der Melamed mit die Lokshen in Hand und mit die zertummelte Talmidemlich arum sich, die Cherede, zerschrockene Schaf, hat sich herausgerissen von Stub und genommen Schreien und Betten Ratunek. Not everyone is das gelungen.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
was successful
Okay,
in seeing the
not
scene.
everyone was successful. When Herschel, the Melamed, with the Lokshen,
The whip.
with the Lokshen in his hand, what's
With the
Lokshen?
whip. The
Noodles.
whip. The whip.
No,
Oh,
but
the
it was
whip.
the word for the whip for
Isn't
the
that a
Muhammad.
handshake?
Yeah, it's a country. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
his hand.
it's in Gänsefüßlich. It's in inverted commas.
Oh, okay. In his hand and with the noisy little students around the chair, struck in a shop, like a group of frightened sheep. Hat sich herausgerissen von Stub und genommen Stein und Beten, Ratunek. That they tore out of the house and they started screaming and begging. Ratunek?
to be.
I don't know.
Rescue, begging,
Oh,
begging,
Ratavin.
Ratavin, yeah.
But
Ratavin,
it's
yeah.
not it's not Ratavin, it's Ratunev.
Yeah, but that's how he says it.
Okay.
They put all these schmattes on him like it's like a straitjacket, right? To stop him from
Right.
doing something. This is how I see it, right? Do you agree?
Mhm.
It's like they put
And
the
threw water
straitjacket
on
on his
him.
face. Yeah, yeah, okay.
But he was I mean, in their defense, he was dangerous. He did have.
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
yeah, he
was-
went
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
He went
Yeah.
crazy. He had the big knife in his hand.
Right.
He went near
okay.
his own baby.
Ah, okay. So, so this is what the group of the Talmidim Lach are saying. Ot Rachmones, nehmt ihm weg von Stub. Dobe wird euch arob von Sinne. Have pity. Take him out of the house. Dobe will also go out of her mind. Haben gute Menschen auf Hirschel dem Melamed Rachmones gehad und haben dem gebundenen Eidem Arois getrogen wie a Barminen und weggeschleppt zu a Schochen in Stuberein, Take zu Reb Simcha dem Stoliar. So good people felt sorry for Hirschel, the teacher, and they took the tied up son-in-law. They carried him as if he was a dead person. Barminan is a dead person, and they schlepped him to a neighbor's house, and indeed it was to Reb Simcha, the carpenter. A guter Mensch und on kleine Kinder, wo sollen sich kennen erschrecken. He's a good man without small children that can get frightened by that. Auf a Kuppe von welche Struschkes hat man dort dem Meschugenem weggelegt und zugelegt ihm einen nassen Handtag zum Scharben, bis der Doktor wird kommen. So on a heap of soft strushkes is fruit, some fruits.
No, shavings, wood shavings.
Okay. Thank you. Ottoman Dalton, they put the crazy person and they put a wet towel to his head, to his skull, until the doctor comes.
You know, we were introduced to when we were introduced to the neighborhood about 100 pages back.
Yeah.
Simcha was one of the characters that we met. So this is the way he ties the book together. Now now we're in Simcha's house.
Yeah, now we are going to meet the mamzer again. Everything is going.
Yeah, no, but you can see how he ties it because it's about 100 pages back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nechama, you remember everything.
No,
Yes,
I just
and
remember that when we met the neighborhood,
Yeah,
we were introduced house, and then
That's
the
right.
garden.
yeah.
And it's also interesting that they really cursed the Melamed, and they said that he'll get his. And the way he got his was through this happening.
You mean Moishka said it, Moishka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, ja. Okay, später vor allem in seinen angelaufen die Emesse Eides von Unglücks heißt, die Katzowin-Jungen von weiten Keulerstiebel mit Abrasche, dem Katze und mit Elie, dem Scheuchet Barosch. Later than anybody then others, there ran the real witnesses of this tragedy. That means, who are they? The young butchers from the faraway slaughterhouse with Abrasha, the butcher, and with Elliot, the slaughterer, leading them. He's the first one going. Elliot der Scheuchet, a Blasser, a der zitterte mit einem ausgedrückten Hals, hat sich gleich genommen noch fragen, weil die Ungelaufene in Zavulek, was mit Susken sein Talmid ist geschehen. Earlier, the slaughterer, a pale person, shaking with a dried out throat, right away started to inquire but of those that are running in the neighborhood, what happened with Zuske, his apprentice. Amod Nezach, because he doesn't understand, this is a strange thing, dacht sich, gemacht der Broche und geschochten wie ein Mensch. Inmitten derinnen, Nadir, this is strange that he behaves like this, because he made the blessing and he slaughtered like a mensch. Well, for these people, if you, this is my comment, if you make the blessing, it's all right to shecht, it's all right to slaughter. So what's the problem? And in the middle of all this, Nadir, here it is, look what's happening. Eine nicht gute Szene hat sich damals abgespielt inmitten Ungelauf. An unpleasant scene was playing now, was showing now in the midst of all this running. Herschel, der Melamed hat nicht gewahrt, bis Rebbe Elie wird sich zu ihm hereinlosen in Stub mit Pareve Dreistwörter. This is terrible. Herschel didn't wait for Elie to come to his house with like sweet talking to cheer him up.
Weak comfort words.
Not milk, not meat. That's like empty,
Yes.
empty words of encouragement. Herschel der Melamed ist ihm herausgelaufen, gegen mit die Lokschen in Hand mit sein zerknetschter Jammerkerle auf dem Kopf und mit sein zerpaddelten Bärl. He didn't wait for him to come in, the shochet. He went out to him. He ran toward him with his whip in his hand, and with his yarmulke that is
crumpled.
Wrinkled, crumpled.
Yeah, I forgot the word. Yeah, it is wrinkled yarmulke, and with his disheveled beard. Als so hat sich durchgestuft zwischen Eulen. This is how he pushed himself amongst the crowd. The Eulen is the crowd. Und genommen springen dem bekovedigen Scheuchet in die Augen rein. And he started to jump toward that respectable slaughterer right in front of his eyes. Via wild gewordener Kotter, just like a cat that became wild. Ihr hat doch etwas gesagt, Raptum, hat ihr doch gesagt. But you said, didn't you say sudden, in a sudden manner? This is what you said. Wo sagt ihr zu euer Raptum? What are you saying to your in a sudden manner? Ashenem Raptum hat ihr mir gemacht. You made me a nice all of a sudden. Elie hat etwas genommen, machen mit die Hand, Gewalt, weißt du es, verentfernen sich. Oh, no, sorry. Die Hand, Gewalt, weißt du es, verentfernen sich. Rab Elie started moving his hands, wanting apparently to answer the Reb Herschel. No, Reb Herschel, der Melamed, oder der zu niederlosen. But Reb Herschel did not allow him to answer him. Tänzlendig verkaß und Aufregung hat sich erzinnt gewendet zum ungelaufenen Eulen. Dancing with anger, Aufregung and Kaas is the same thing. I think to emphasize the anger.
Excitement.
He now addressed the running crowd. Ihr hört doch, Raptum, hat gesagt, Azagazlones. You hear Raptum, all of a sudden, this is such thievery. Euer Eidemachter is a cholish. Your son-in-law is a weakling. Nehmt him a course Raptum. So take him in all of a sudden style. Kein Gens kann nicht keulenen, lasst ihn keulen an Ochs, wird geholfen werden. He cannot slaughter geese. Therefore, let him slaughter an ox. So that way, by slaughtering an ox, he will be helped. Lasst mich, sagt ich will ihm nehmen, Raptum. Let me, he says, I'll take him all of a sudden, like I'll throw him in the water, yeah, to start swimming. Gemacht, Raptum, he took him to do it in a sudden way. He is such a murderer. He's a Jew that's a murderer. Alle die, was haben nicht gewusst, was Reb Elie der Schochet hat an Eize gegeben und was mir hat mit Herschels Edemel getan, haben nicht verstanden dem Melameds Kochike und quietschendike Ausgeschreien. Gicher haben sie gemeint, als Herschel ist von größer Zores auf von Sinnen. A Gemurmel ist weg über den ganzen Angelauf von ein Eck, Savulek bis zum zweiten. So, all those that did not know what Elie, the slaughterer, what kind of advice he gave, and and what was done with the son-in-law of Herschel. They did not understand the screaming of Herschel's
Herschel screaming. They didn't understand it.
Cooking, hot and screaming, shouting. It's all the same. Quietschen, ausgeschrien. Die haben sie gemeint, they rather thought that Herschel, because of big suffering, he went out of his mind. So there was like a whisper going around throughout that crowd, from one end of the neighborhood to the other, that Herschel became crazy.
This is a perfect place to stop.
Okay, this is some social criticism. Look at this society. They're coming to see how everybody is going crazy. Yeah.
Well, remember, it isn't too far from when the child was left at the house, and they all came, and they it's an echo of what happened earlier when they were they wanted to see how the Leckermacher, how is she doing with her new child. It's the same kind of voyeuristic view of voyeuristic approach to their neighbors.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's the same approach.